Hey folks, you're watching Connor, and this is episode 8 in the weekly fitness vlogs. What are you going to see in this episode? In this episode, I'm going to be breaking down the mechanics of the squat so that you can learn how to improve your squat. You ready? Let's go. Kicking things off then with the weigh-in, so I'm now going to throw to a clip of the weigh-in that I recorded earlier. Enjoy. 0.6 pounds, which means we're averaging our half a pound as usual. Keep doing things as we're doing until they don't work, and right now they're working, so we keep doing it. Looking now at the squats. So the first thing we're going to be seeing is 3 sets of the squats that I'm doing, and that's literally all I do. It's just 3 sets. As you probably figured out by now if you watch the other videos, I don't do a whole lot of working sets, but the working sets I do are quite difficult. So there'll be 3 sets of this. I'm typically going to about 6 reps, although ordinarily I'd go to 10 for most exercises. The reason I'm only going to 6 is because I'm trying to learn the form for squats, and it's not something that I can do yet. And oftentimes when you're trying to perform a movement that you can't quite do flawlessly yet, you kind of, if you set your rep targets really high, you have a tendency to throw away form towards the end. So I'm keeping my rep range a wee bit lower just so that I can kind of keep the intensity and keep the focus and try and do 6 good reps rather than 10 per ones. Not to say that these are 6 good reps or whatever it is, but that's what I'm working towards. So in terms of the actual mechanics of the squat, let's break it down. What am I trying to do? Well, I'm trying to we'll start with the lower body first. So let's talk about distribution. I'm trying to push my bum back and not let my knees pull forward too much. So a lot of people who tend to be knee benders will, when they do their squats, their knees will come forward quite excessively. I was one of them. So I'm trying to work on pushing my bum back and using the muscles in my hips to actually perform the squat. So it's quite difficult for me, but you'll see that more in the third set from a different angle. But from this angle, it kind of shows the spinal line here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have a straight line between my bum, my upper back, and the back of my head. Now, I'm not putting too much attention on the back of the head movement just yet, because I want my eyes to be where they are now so that I can keep an eye on my knees and make sure they're not pulling forward too much, because I can keep them in line with my toes. So I'm not paying too much attention to the head movement. That's something that I'll work on later. But what I'm really trying to do is not let my bum kind of sink in at the bottom, which it is doing, as you can see there, right? So what I mean by that, well, if you can just kind of see as I'm dipping there, it's, the bum's sticking out initially, and then it just kind of curves in at the bottom and loses that straight spine. So that's something I obviously need to work on. I'm also focusing on driving my chest up and keeping my shoulders back to make sure that the upper part of my spine, the term for that is your thoracic spine, is in that position, and then a nice curve in the neck as well, although I'm not paying too much attention to the head movements. I'm trying to do slow and controlled form. Now one thing you might notice is, why is he not going ass to the grass, right? Why aren't you getting depths in your squat? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? It is a good thing to get depths in your squats, and that is something that I'm working towards. I can do ass to the grass. The issue is when I do, I lose form. So I'm not going to do it when it costs me form, because then, you kind of see like my form dips a little bit just when I go past a certain threshold where my bum tucks in. So what would happen if I was to go lower than that? Well, then my quads couldn't take the load anymore, and it would put it on my back, and then my spine would actually curve even more. So I'm just trying to go to the point where it's difficult for me to maintain that spine curvature, and not anymore, because if I do go anymore, then I'll lose that, and that is the priority for me. The priority is form. So from this angle here, you see from the front, trying to keep my knees spread. This is a difficult position for me. Normally when I'd squat before, I'd have wide feet and that sort of thing, because I wasn't much of a hip bender. A lot of people who have poor flexibility will tell you to put your legs out wide and in a V shape, and that can work. The problem is if you never actually try to fix it, then you're going to end up with that difficulty. So it's a good thing to do when you're starting off, just to allow yourself to do the squat at all, is to have your feet a wider stance if you're not very good at bending at the hips. But you should work towards getting that hip bend. It shouldn't just be, I can't do it now, therefore I'll never do it. So it's something that I'm trying to work on, and has greatly improved from when I started. I used to have no hip bend whatsoever at the start, but now I'm getting a decent amount and it's not so bad. So over the coming weeks, I'm just going to be trying to focus more on that spine alignment, keeping the 3 points in line, and trying to focus on bending at the hip more, and hopefully increase the depth of my squat as much as possible. I hope you've taken something from this video that you can use in your own personal fitness journey. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I want to help you as best as I can with your personal journey. I want to thank those of you that have subscribed so far. I hope you're benefiting from the content and will do in future also. I've been Connor. Take care, and I'll see you next week.